Well, aloha kahiaka. That means good morning in Hawaiian. Welcome, everybody. I'm Peter K. Thanks for. I missed you all. I'm not here for the past show, but you are today. You are with us. It's October 11th, 2024, and you are on the Aloha Friday Hawaii Real Estate Show. Welcome, everybody. Welcome. We got a great show planned for you today, as usual. We're going to come up with some. We're gonna the first of all, I want to say e komo mai, which means welcome in Hawaiian. Welcome everybody. We've got a couple things for you today. We got some news. There's been an interesting report on the Lahaina fires. You want to kind of tune into that one. And we got some market updates. What's going on in the real estate market? We're going to handle, of course, your questions. Some that you've submitted, others that we're going to be taking live because live is the way to go here. We're going to be showing some diamonds and deals properties that we think are awesome. And also, finally, we're going to close up with our motivational thoughts that keep us going every day. So, but first, what we're going to do here is we have to warm up the microphones. We're going to warm up these mics, and I'm here with my friends, with Dylan Nonaka, who's from the Big Island, and we got Heidi Dollinger, who hails from Maui, and we have Ashley Wesson, who is from Oahu. Great to have everybody here. We have to warm up the microphones, so why don't we do this? Let's just start clockwise. Dylan, clue us in. Dylan normally has the Aloha shirt that he models for us, and whatever else is going. What's going on, Dylan? And how are you doing? How's the shirt? And how's the Big Island?
This is my newest Aloha shirt. This is a golf shirt by Ola that my wife got recently and brought home. I would tell her to stop buying me shirts because I got so many of them. I don't only wear them on Fridays with you guys because usually I just wear a very plain company shirt every day. But this is the newest addition to the wardrobe. I think it's pretty cool. And it's a golf material, right? So you just wash it and then hang it up, and it's like you don't have to iron it or anything. So that's the new modern Aloha shirt, is the dry fit, golf shirt.
That is the key. You said it right there. For guys, for guys like me who hate ironing, we have to keep our clothes clean. But I hate ironing, and so the iron free shirt, that is where we're going, man. That is the direction.
2024. We shouldn't be ironing clothes anymore.
No more. Yes, we have advanced materials. We have advanced materials now. Science has liberated us from ironing our clothes. Yes. Okay, Heidi's from Maui, everybody, and Heidi features coffee. Heidi, what's the coffee of the day today, and how is Maui doing for you?
Maui's doing great. I'm actually in Napili this morning. Little bit rainy, little bit overcast today, but it's super nice. And I just wanted to share a little warning about coffee. Don't drink too much. Recently, my husband thought something was wrong with his heart, but he just realized he had too many lattes, too many days in a row. So we were relieved to figure that out.
That is a relief. I'm glad to hear that your husband was okay. Too many the curse of too many lattes. The curse of too many lattes. Yeah. Yeah, it's that, and the other one is that similar to that is panic attacks. Panic attacks are kind of scary because people who are having I have friends and family who have undergone panic attacks, and they say it feels like they're having a heart attack, and they go into the hospital like I'm having a thing, and the hospital says no, it's okay, you're just having a panic attack. So panic attacks and lattes. Stay away from panic attacks and lattes.
I mean, lattes are good. Just don't drink too many of them every day in a row.
Yeah, or in rapid succession. It's kind of funny. We I was away at our last show. Thanks, Dylan, for covering. My wife and I went on a cruise, and I didn't want to just do brewed coffee because the brewed coffee is okay, So, and of course, like a cruise ship, they've got cappuccino bars and everything. So I wouldn't say introduced because I've had a cappuccino before, but I started drinking cappuccinos, which is like glorified chocolate milk. As far as I'm concerned, it's a ton of milk with a little bit of coffee, and you don't taste anything. But I could see how that could be a problem. I was drinking quite a few cappuccinos. Not enough to suffer a painful moment, but nonetheless. Oh, before we move on to Ash, I want to give a shout out to Joan. Joan's with us. Aloha, everyone. Welcome back, Auntie Joan. Good to see you again with us. Glad that you are with us. And hey, folks, if you are watching with us, like Auntie Joan, if you're watching right now, I'd love to hear to know about you. to recognize you and let us know where you're from. So please go ahead and do that. And speaking of who's from where, Ashley Wasan is from Oahu. Ashley, how's it going over there? It's kind of I'm looking at my window, and it's like, it's kind of one of those overcast days. How's the windward side treating you today, Ashley?
It's blindingly overcast, so not a break in the cloud in sight, but nice little sprinkle, some reprieve from the hot weather. Fall break right now with all the keiki and the kids, so we're going to Turtle Bay in a bit and having some work by the poolside afternoon before fall break ends. And I know we do it earlier than the States, which is kind of nice. So if you go on trips or if you go anywhere, it kind of breaks it up a little bit. But I agree with both you and Heidi. Mochas are definitely adult hot chocolates or chocolate milks. And I reduced my coffee intake to 1 homemade latte per day because I would always have coffee meetings with clients. And before I knew it, I would be like 4 or 5 coffees in on the day. And I'd be like, you guys ready? You want to go somewhere? And I'm already a very hyper person. So I enjoy not having the jitters anymore.
I've got it down to 1. This is it. This is my, I just do 1 of these, strong as heck, 40. I won't reiterate my previous coffee snobbishness, but 43. It's exactly precisely 43 grams of beans ground through a burr grinder and put into this thing, and that's what I do. And just do 1, and that's it. Just do 1, and
it's the way to go.
It's the way to go. It's the way to go. Speaking of a good way to go, we got Rachel, who's with us. Rachel Conley, Hawaii. Welcome, Rachel. Glad that you are with us. Aloha. Good morning from Ocean View, Ka'u. It's sunny here. Isn't it always sunny in Ka'u? Isn't that the thing about is Ka'u? Isn't that like always a sunny place? But glad that you're with us, Rachel. Thank you. Yeah, I'm stoked, you guys. We're finally getting into like what I call the real October. Our sprinkler system was broke, and so my grass started turning brown. And finally, I've always kind of remembered October is like that's when the rains start. When the rains begin is in October. And past few nights we've had a couple of rains, a couple of good things. So all good. All right. Let's move on. Let's get some news out of the way. Let's get some news done over here. I'm going to clue you folks in on some stuff that I think is interesting, and maybe we'll have some points of discussion between the 4 of us on these topics. If you find interest, feel free to jump in when we get to our next round here. So Honolulu Airport. So it's a sad thing with the Honolulu Airport, because you got this, you live in Hawaii, you get off the airplane, you smell the plumerias, it's nice and warm, but it everybody agrees it's not so hot of an airport. It's not so hot of an airport. And and I'm not the only one who thinks that, because apparently it is in the ranking of large airports, we are 4th from the bottom. So we are 4th from the bottom. And it's kind of sad. Anytime you go on a trip and you go through a place like either San Francisco, for example, it's got a beautiful airport. I went to, I forgot where we went, but anyway, I don't want to rattle off. It's a sad thing. Honolulu Airport, in my opinion, is my editorial opinion here. Honolulu Airport should be the most beautiful airport in the world, because Hawaii is the most beautiful place in the world. It should be absolutely amazing, drop dead gorgeous when you walk in. The moment you get off that plane, you're in paradise. Hope that day comes one day. All right. Kaho'olawe. Kaho'olawe looks like now Kaho'olawe, for those of you that don't know, is a little tiny island right off of Maui, and it's got a sad history. It was used as a bombing practice island after World War II up until 1993, apparently, and apparently devastation, as you might imagine, from the bombs, etc. But it looks like they've been trying to kind of bring it back, and there were some amazing signs of its rebirth. It was reported that there are some native species that are appearing on the island, and as well as turtle nests. Turtle nests are appearing on the island, so it looks like it is coming back. As they said in the movie Jurassic Park, nature always finds a way. So that is good to hear about. I was really happy about that. Vacant home tax. Want to hear like to hear what Ashley thinks about this one. There is more and more talk. I don't know if it's not a law yet, but there is talk about in having a special tax on vacant homes. Actually, I'd like to know what all my friends think about this, Dylan and Heidi as well. Anyone with a home that is vacant 6 months out of the year would have to pay taxes on 1% of the assessed value the first year 2% the next year, and 3% after that. I don't know how you're going to track that and enforce it, but it's an interesting development. Lahaina looks, Heidi, I'd like to hear from you about this. Lahaina Road is reopens. There is an official opening with apparently residential debris removal 100% complete. Opening of the residential areas off Lahaina Luna Road is set for was done last week, and the it is marks one of the large residential areas to be the final large areas to be reopened. So I'd be interested to get a quick update online. And speaking of Lahaina, so finally there was a official report that came through on the causes of the Lahaina fires, and everyone agreed that it was space lasers with microwave beams that were focusing on specific houses in Lahaina. Just kidding. Just kidding. That wasn't what it was. I just did that just to freak everybody out because we're going to get all the conspiracy theories. So I just wanted to feed everybody. No, of course, it was ruled an accident. And apparently, it was. I downloaded the report. It was actually quite interesting what the report said. Basically, it was about there was two fires that were started. One was a brush fire that they put out in the morning, and they thought it was completely out. But apparently it wasn't completely out. And in the afternoon, fallen power lines sparked some overgrowth, and that caused the fire. It was ruled an accident officially. So that's the story on that. Sad, but true. Not true, but sad. But I'm glad the report has come in. And that's that. So with that, why don't we let's either comment on the news, or we're going to go into, we are officially into our market update here, where we talk about what's going on with the real estate market, in real estate market, or anything else you want to comment on, anything news that maybe you want to share from your island. Let's go counterclockwise. Let's go with Ashley, then Heidi, and then Dylan. Give us the update. What do you see? But before we do that, I want to give a couple of shout outs to some folks who have commented. Barbara, welcome back. Barbara is in her 90s and attends the show. She has become a treasured regular. Thank you, Barbara, for being back with us. My advice: a good coffee at breakfast, and next comment, and good wine at dinner. Exactly, Barbara. God bless you. That's exactly right. Might I so humbly add, and a bourbon at night. That's the way I would kind of round that one up. Kahea, welcome, Kahea. Kahea Anzal, happy Aloha Friday from Kamuela, Hawaii. Welcome, Kahea. Good to see you here from Kamuela, Hawaii. Excellent. All right, let's get on with it. Ashley, is there anything you want to add from Oahu? Be curious about the vacant rental tax, and what's the market like on Oahu? What's going on? I've been out for about a month now, so give us the update.
Yeah, the bill, I think, it's a creative idea. I think it'll be interesting on implementation. So they're hoping to have this implemented in 2025. You kind of already went over the percentages. There's going to be exceptions, of course. So 15 exceptions, like, for example, if you're deployed, if there's a medical reason you can't, or if the home's under renovation, there's a few examples. They're going to have someone hired that's going to try to identify the vacant homes, and then you have to file paperwork to provide proof of it being rented or not rented. The interesting thing about it, too, will be how that's going to relay into the GET taxes and the other taxes that you'll have to pay for rentals. So I think there'll be some accountability there as well for people who are renting the houses but don't claim the income. Which, if the state does what it needs to with the funds, it's great. But that's a big if. Pivoting to
a big if indeed.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not against anything, and I love anything that will put more residents into houses and into homes. Don't get me wrong. I think that's fantastic. And I love resolutions like that. However, I lack confidence in what they'll actually do with the money. So that's the downfall. But the housing market.
Onto the market
is pretty good. That compared to last month, we have a decline in the average price point of single family homes, but it's so slight. It's, last month in August, it was 1.122 million for median single family homes. This month, it's 1.112. So it's a fractional difference. The condo market, kind of as we have been talking over the show, is expected. It decreased last month. The median was 500,000, and in September it ended at 500. It went up. The actual average price point went up at 517,000, but condo sales went down. So very menial. Again, last month in August, not last month, but last recorded data in August was 400 condo sales versus 366 in September. Single family homes went down as well in September. However, with that said, we are going to see a pretty hot October. Historically speaking, at least in my 15 years, October has been a pretty solid month. And then it tapers off into the holidays.
So I'm curious. I saw a story. I'm sure we all did. I don't know if we all did, but there's a bunch of stories, of course, of the hurricanes that are going on in Florida and the devastation, et cetera. And there was a story about how the insurance rates are continuing, understandably, to skyrocket. Not just in Florida, but nationwide, but specifically in Florida. And they were saying how that is beginning to have a profound impact on the cost of housing, because of course your insurance is a part of the monthly cost, and the monthly cost is really the entire monthly cost, that plus mortgage plus et cetera, is kind of bringing down the listed price of the home. What has been, are you still seeing, you mentioned that the condo market is still kind of softening up a little bit on Oahu. Have you, are the insurance issues still, I mean, it's only been a month since we talked about this, but is insurance or increased insurance or increased HOA fees, is that still having an effect, or the insecurity of those? I guess the question, I should ask this, sorry about this. How is the HOA fees and insurance impacting the market for the condos on Oahu?
Well, so in September, we had 58% more condo inventory than this time last year. That's a lot of condo inventory. That's a drastic increase, almost 60% higher. Increase. For comparison, single family homes, I think I have to look, it was pretty minimal comparatively. So to answer your question, I think the reason for that is because of the insurance rates. I want to caveat that with homeowners insurance and flood insurance is experiencing the same issues. I just think that there's some more fluid flexibility, because as a homeowner, you have a single family home, you get to price that out, you get to shop those rates, and you get to choose your insurance provider, versus when you're in the condo, the building is doing that shopping for you. And so, yeah, you have to be involved with your board. The condo market is suffering across the nation, but with that said, there's always opportunity, right? So you are seeing condo prices. I'm actually really surprised that our average price point went up to 517,000 from last month. And honestly, I just think that those are from some higher price point sales, because overall the condo market does sit a little longer. We have the highest days on market for condos over 30 days here on Oahu, which doesn't sound like a lot, but in the last 5 years, it's been, under 19 days. And you see that massive increase in inventory. So yeah, I think that'll be something that's going to go ongoing, but I already know there's certain states that are talking about federal subsidization for the insurance. And I think Hawaii will be not far behind that as well.
Man, if you think insurance rates are bad now, wait until they get federally subsidized. That's when the prices are really going to go up. Wait for that one. Wait for that one.
In Hawaii, just as an expectation on Oahu, it is an anomaly to find HOAs that are under $1,000 a month now. They sometimes exist, but they probably won't by next month, unless if they have absolutely no amenities.
Okay, so in other words, under 1,000 is an exception. So be prepared. In other words.
Yeah, even the new condos that are in Board Village, if you're looking at a one bedroom, you're still looking at just under $1,000. And then if you're looking at the 2 bedroom, and those are brand new. And the reason why that's important is that the newer the building, then you have less deferred maintenance, because you don't have the upcoming, say, roof repairs, piping, spalding, all the things that you see around the 20 or 30 year mark. So if you see buildings that are built in the 70s or the 90s, you're going to have some of those larger repairs coming up. The newer buildings won't have those. So your maintenance fees are really just what is the current and then what they're trying to build for reserves and the insurances. And even those new buildings are still experiencing those higher maintenance fees.
All right. Well, thanks for that one. I just want to give a shout out to John. John, thanks. I appreciate that, John. John says, great point, Peter. My question was based around HOA and insurance. John, I think Ashley gave a pretty comprehensive overview of all that stuff. If you got any more questions, make sure you ask them. And for that, I want to mention to everybody else who is with us, Your questions matter. You got some. This isn't ask us anything. This is an ask us anything show. So ask us anything, not just about real estate. Quick, before we go to Heidi, I want to give a quick shout out to Judy Everett Weber. Judy, welcome back, Judy. Judy is a full-on member of the Ohana. Dare I say I would say Judy is almost becoming the matriarch of the Islander Ohana in so many ways. But thanks, Judy. You are back. Good to see you. Thanks for attending. Heidi, what's Maui's market like? What's Lahaina like? I'd like to get a quick, not quick, but give us those of us who don't go to Lahaina, haven't been to Lahaina. What's Lahaina like these days? What's it feeling like over there? And give us the vibe as well as everything else, Heidi.
Yeah, well, I mean, you mentioned the news article. They're opening up more of the residential neighborhoods off Lahaina Luna Road that are now cleared. So all the residential areas have been cleared. Most of the commercial, they've restored all the water infrastructure, working on the sewer infrastructure. There's a lot of good things happening, but it's hard to see just driving by. So if you're coming over to the west side and driving through Lahaina, I mean, you see a lot of vacant lots. It doesn't look like much. People are seeing, well, there's not a town here. What are they doing? There is progress being made, but it's slow. It's things that you can't always see just by driving by. But anyway, we are
so curiously, if I could ask, if you kind of go through the damaged area, are all the lots basically, it says it's completely cleared? Are all the lots kind of basically, it's like just flat land here and there with a tree or there, or what does give us an idea of just give us a picture of what you would see if you were driving through the areas that were affected?
So if you're driving down Honopiliani Highway, which they opened up a while ago, it actually still kind of gives me the chills driving through, because you used to drive through and the town was right there, and now you look over and you see empty land and the ocean, and McDonald's is still standing, which is amazing. And then there's a couple commercial buildings they're still kind of cleaning up, but you're just driving and seeing these gravel lots. A lot of the trees were actually destroyed in the fire too. So there's a big effort to replant trees in Lahaina, which I think is so important. So yeah, it's still kind of surreal, especially if you're familiar with the area and have been over here. But the more time that passes and as they clean things up, it gets a little better every day. I mean, everybody that's here, it just has to make the best decisions they can and keep on keeping on. It's definitely been just a huge year of change for people, and there's a lot of heartbreaking situations, and Lahaina it's never going to be the same. I mean, it's going to eventually be something new, and hopefully it will be, a really nice place that honors the culture and history, and, have nicer, newer buildings. But we can never go back, and that's what's really tough.
Yeah, I would imagine so.
But I mean, anyway, as far as
how's the market doing? Thank you, Heidi.
September on Maui was definitely a slower month in terms of number of closings. 51 homes sold, 50 condos sold, and 9 parcels of land sold. Median prices for homes and condos are both up, but I think the stats don't really tell the true story of what's going on in the condo market. Besides factors like we already talked about, insurance, and HOA fees for condos, I mean, our condo market's really been being suffocated by these proposed regulatory changes to vacation rentals in apartment zoned areas. And the lack of clarity is really been the biggest challenge, because I mean, buyers, owners, people that even work in industries related to this industry are kind of sitting on the sidelines waiting to see what's going to happen. We're coming up on elections next month and really don't expect to have any information or decision on what's going to happen until sometime next year. Interestingly, we're seeing strength in the very, very ultra high-end luxury market with several sales in the $16 to $18 million range recently over in West Maui. And also there is a $30 million house under contract over here as well. So that's been interesting. And I mean, I hear about the vacant home tax proposal on Oahu. That's something that's not currently being proposed on Maui, but I mean, I think it sounds pretty punitive and extreme. I mean, considering the values of these homes, potentially 3% extra tax. So it will be interesting to see what happens with that over on Oahu.
You know, I wonder if this thing is going to have legs. I mean, to Ashley's point, you know, actually, you know, how the money is used, yeah, well, good luck with that. But I think it's more of the what it incentivizes and disincentivizes, and if you I got my Dylan hat on, and what will be the unintended consequences when that thing happens. But I could see that you know, Maui's gone on an anti. At least it seems that way from my perspective, Heidi. Maui seems to have gone on an anti-vacation rental tear, which is like they want to rule out vacation rentals or they want to restrict vacation rentals. So I could see if this goes anywhere on Oahu, if it has any traction, I could definitely see it spreading to Maui as a way to, again, further clamp down on the vacation rental-ishness, right? Because if you got these $30 million homes, not that everyday people are going to move into that if it was vacant or not vacant, but I could see that. I could definitely see it moving into Maui for sure if it gets any traction on Oahu. But that said, let's move on. Before we move on to Dylan, I want to remind everybody, hey, if you got any questions, this is an Ask Us Anything show. Not just real estate questions, anything you'd like to know about Hawaii. We got people here from almost all the islands, Big Island, Maui, Oahu. This is for you. Make sure you ask us. All right. With that said, Dylan, let's move on to you. What's going on the Big Island? What's your take on what's going on? Any other news you want to report that's happening on the Big Island that we should know? What's up, Dylan?
Well, I was just thinking, you know, and Ashley's asked about where the money's going to be spent. They're going to buy Alexas, right, to put in all of our houses to listen for us to see if we're there, to make sure they're charging us the right tax amount. That's what I'm thinking. So.
Alexa, I'm leaving home right now.
Anyway, good news on the Big Island. I have good news and bad news. We'll do the good news first. Since we're talking about affordable housing and solutions to our housing crisis, is the county council and the mayor just signed Bill 123, which allows for up to 3 additional ADUs up to like 1,200 square feet. And, you know, I've been talking about this for a long time. I mean, that's probably the most sensible, practical thing we can do in the short run, is just allow people who have the space available to build additional housing on existing land that has already been developed, that is already an existing neighborhood. And so,
so Dylan,
I make a lot of snarky comments.
So really quick, what's an ADU? Explain an ADU.
Additional dwelling unit. So basically, you know, we call them ohanas, which is actually a legal term. So we're careful about, you know, people could consider, you know, a mother-in-law quarters or an additional dwelling unit as an ohana. It's not necessarily. That was a actual legal zoning term in the past on the Big Island, so you can have a legally zoned ohana. But this is for additional units that you can build on your property up to 1,200 square feet, and you can do up to 3. And of course, there's some regulations. You got to have the wastewater capacity, and you have to have water service capacity and things like that. But it's definitely something that's practical that I think going forward. On the Big Island, you have most properties, you don't have really densely zoned property. Like most neighborhoods are 10,000, 15,000 square feet. You know, many are half acres. There's tons of 1 acre properties that are agriculturally zoned. And so there's definitely enough space to do it. And I think, you know, in the short term, it's a step in the right direction. And I'm always criticizing the government, but this is actually a good thing that they did. So I got to give them credit where credit is due. But on that note, shifting over to the real estate market, we had the slowest month in real estate sales in maybe history. I got to go back to the financial crisis. It's crazy. I went back back until 2015, and we haven't had a sub 300 unit sale month since I could find data. And so we had 289 sales in the month of September, which is historically extremely low. We've kind of dipped down to the really low 300s in a few months with like 310, 311 over the last couple of years because the market has been slower. But to get under 300 is pretty significant, and it feels that way. It feels slow. The inventory is rising. We're almost to 6 months of inventory, so it's pretty balanced market, and that's what we keep talking about. Is right now from a sell side, you just have to be really patient because the buyer demand is very slow right now. Interest rates definitely have been an issue, but I really think the election is probably a bigger issue because nobody's doing anything, right? Half the world thinks the world's going to end if one person wins, and half the world thinks that the world's going to end if the other person wins. So everybody thinks the world could potentially end in 4 weeks or whatever we have left here. So seems like rates will come down, and once the world doesn't end in November, I think buyers will start moving again. But historically low activity right now.
So I was going to ask you about what do you think is the like some of the key drivers? Do you think it's the election? Or is it interest? Is this the interest rate thing, or people are waiting for rates to drop, or it's a wait and see, or what if you had to?
In
general,
what would be in general, the fall market is slow, and that's just historically. If there's any seasonality in our market, kind of the September, October markets are usually the slowest. So that plays into it too. Is kids are back in school. People are kind of done with travel, especially in the neighbor island markets where we have a lot more mainland buyers. Actually, maybe we can talk about this. I need to share the data with you. I got a great report from Title Guarantee, one of our title companies, on where buyers come from and what the mix of mainland, international, and Hawaii-based buyers are on each island. And it was very interesting. The breakdown and which island has the most out-of-state buyers versus which island has the least. And so maybe we can talk about that. We can do that at a future show. But on the Big Island, the headline is we have the highest, almost 50% of the buyers on the Big Island in the last 2 years have been from out of state. And so we have the largest proportion of out-of-state buyers. And obviously, if people aren't traveling or, buyers are coming from the mainland, you're going to have a lower number of sales if they're not traveling and there's other distractions going on. So I think that definitely plays into it too.
Oh no, that's interesting. Since you have the largest number, yeah, I don't know, man. We'll have to see. It's interesting if that because you folks have the highest number of mainland buyers, then the question becomes why are the mainland buyers not? What's making them not move? Right? It's a big move, a big switch. Interesting, right?
The other piece of that data is the proportion of volume, right? So the dollar volume of sales for the mainland portion of buyers is always greater than the unit volume, right? So what that tells us is that out-of-state buyers are buying at higher price points because the volume. So if they buy 100, so if 25% of the unit market is made up of mainland buyers, it's always like 35 or 40% of the volume is made up, right? So they're buying higher priced properties to create that proportion. And so that's another piece of it too, is that higher end luxury buyer is I think this is a time, especially with interest rates. That was something we've seen over the last couple of years, that people kind of started shifting away from real estate investing into the stock market, because as rates get better and the stock market does better, you don't have to put your money necessarily into real estate. And that's another piece that we're kind of seeing. And with all of the unrest on vacation rentals, the vacation rental market, I mean, yes, it's kind of happening on Maui, but the media and the sense around that feels statewide, and it's definitely affecting us too, because people are very apprehensive about buying a vacation rental when potentially their ability to do that and generate any income off of that property could go away at any time. And we're seeing that happen on Maui now, and there's definitely some spillover, I think, in that mindset to the other islands too.
Insecurity, uncertainty makes everybody freeze, right? I mean, although I got my Ashley hat on now, where uncertainty is the opportunity. That's where the opportunities lies, with uncertainty. But for a lot of buyers, uncertainty is a moment to pause, and I could see that. You know, it's kind of funny. We don't get political we don't get like partisan political on the show. We do political commentary, but not partisan political commentary. And I'm not gonna change that. I think what's interesting about the presidential election is that what really kind of fascinates me is that both sides think that this is going to be the end of the country if the other side wins. And I was talking to my dad about this last night, you know, because he was telling me the same. He goes, "Man, if so and so wins, it's going to be the end for the country." But da 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 da. And I'm like, you know, Dad, I'm like, yeah, Dad, half of the country believes the opposite. Half of the country believes that if your candidate wins, it's going to be the end of the country. He goes, yeah, you're right. So it's like, who's right? When like you have a 50-50, right? And each side believes that the other side is going to flip out, they're going to blow up the country. Who's right? What if we're on the wrong side? Whatever side you're on, what if it's the wrong side? That's my deep thought.
Fortunately, since I ever started paying attention, I've heard that every single presidential election, it's never come true. So if there's one thing that's definitely not going to come true, is that the country's going to end regardless of who wins. Because
there you
talking
go.
about that for about 20 years now, so probably longer. So,
Same every election, unless we read the book "Changing World Order."
The most important one ever.
Most important one ever. Yeah, and democracy. All right, cool. Let's say hello to a few of our friends here. Kathy Stellman. Welcome, Kathy, from San Diego. I was just in my wife and I were on a cruise. That's why I wasn't here at the last show. We were docked in San Diego. A great town, beautiful town. I have an uncle who passed away who used to live near the area. Thanks, Kathy. John says, hey, is it practical to live on one island and travel to another island for work? Also, is there a time frame in mind for the next Ohana Islander cohort? I'll take the last one first, and then let's discuss it. This is a good question. John, you missed out, buddy. We're starting tomorrow. Tomorrow is the cohort begins tomorrow. It's too late. You're out. You didn't make it, man. I was announcing it and talking about it, and it was on the newsletter. People complained that I was talking too much about it. But anyway, John, look, all I can tell you is sometime next year. That's all I can tell you is sometime next year we're going to do the next Islander Ohana cohort. We are super sorry that you missed out on that, John. But anyway, be that as it may. Okay, so let's do this. What do you guys think about? Let's go clockwise, Dylan, and then clockwise. Is it practical to live on one island and work on another? Dylan.
Yeah, lots of people do it. What makes it practical though is normally folks don't go every single day. Like they'll go, like there's nurses who will like work 3 12-hour shifts in a row for the week and then live on another island. So they'll stay overnight for those 2 nights in between. There's construction workers that definitely do it. It's very interesting flight. I travel a lot between the islands. I work a lot on the other islands too. So I get experience with this, but if you fly either Monday mornings early or Friday afternoons, it's full of construction workers, sweaty guys with like that are all dirty, and they're flying home after the week. They're doing a project on another island, and so it definitely happens. There's a lot of professionals. There's a lot of doctors that have practices on multiple islands, so they may only open 1 or 2 days a week to see patients, and the rest of the week the staff are doing other things. So it's depends on your industry. Definitely, if you're just like a regular hourly employee and you have to fly back and forth, and it's not very practical, and it's expensive. I mean, it's $150 round trip on average right now. So you gotta take that into account in terms of your cost. But just depends on your industry and what you're doing.
There you go. Thanks, Dylan. That's a good observation. I've got my own experiences I'll share later. Heidi, what's your perspective? What do you have clients or experiences or friends that in the network that commute, if you will, on the islands, or what's your take on John's question?
Well, I think in most cases, it's not all that practical. I mean, just the amount of time it takes. But like Dylan said, in some industries, I mean, people do it. Ideally, you're not having to do it every single day. Maybe once or twice a week would make more sense. But yeah, I mean, it's still the time driving to the airport, and the flights are not super cheap either. So it doesn't make sense in most cases.
Does not make sense in most cases. Hey, before we move on to get Ashley's, again, Misty, of course, those of you that are regulars on the show know that Misty is a guest here many times. Welcome, Misty, hello, awesome ones. No, Misty, you're the awesome one, Misty. Thanks for being a part of us. You're awesome when you're on. Well, you're awesome when you're on with us and when you're not on with us. You're always awesome. There apparently there's a it must be beautiful. It's beautiful in Kailua-Kona. Swell coming soon. Misty, I did not know. Are you a surfer girl? I'd like to hear some surfer. Are you surfer? Do you surf? That'd be cool. Whether you surf or not, it would be cool. Excellent. So Jennifer, so Jennifer's got some comments on this. So thanks Jennifer, on the topic that we're talking about, which is John's question about can you commute? And Jennifer says, agent here in Alaska, when I travel to other islands, I spend $400 easy on tickets and housing. Yeah, that's part of what you kind of have to factor in. Ashley, what's your take on John's question about, can you live on one island and work in another?
Yeah, well, you can do anything. So, I mean, we all, I think, travel and work to outer islands. Used to be more affordable. I'd say a few years ago, you could get a round trip ticket for $50. And there used to be a ferry even before that. So I know there's some hopes in the future that one of those two things will come back, and then it will be far more practical. But I think Dylan wrapped it up perfectly. Depends on what you're doing, how often you want to go, what island you're traveling to. Are you able to stay for the whole week? Is it a 2-day thing? There's a lot of factors, but it's fun. It's definitely fun to island hop to work. So just depends if you really like the airport.
If you could island hop. So go ahead, Dylan.
Yeah, I'll add one more perspective on this, right? This is the Big Island perspective. Is I regularly, usually once a week, go to one of the neighbor islands and work there, do some stuff, meetings with the teams on the different islands. And I do that in Hilo usually once a month also. And my commute time to get to Hilo on the same island is about the same as it is to get to any other island. So the time it takes me to drive to the airport, board the plane, fly the plane, and then get to wherever I'm going to work on Oahu is about the same time as it takes me to leave my house and drive across the island to Hilo on the other side. So from a commuting standpoint, I actually rather go to a neighbor island because I can be pretty productive at the airport and on the plane. I can get things done. I can work a little bit. If I'm in the car, I'm kind of like stuck driving the whole time. So,
but that's Big Island. It's a big island. That's none of us have that problem.
but if you live North Shore and you gotta you gotta work down in town and there's traffic and stuff, your commute could be almost the same as flying to another island on Oahu.
You need a self-driving car, Dylan.
I have one, but they're getting more sneaky where they make you pay attention. Like the camera watches you and tells you like pay attention to the road if you're not when you're driving. So
wait, the camera watches you?
Yeah, it knows when your eyes aren't on the road. Yeah, like Elon's watching.
What's the point of having a self-driving car if you're not sleeping or working?
Well, I'm going to jump in on this one. They call it a self-driving car. It's not legally a self-driving car because of legal restrictions, and it's not 1,000%. However, yesterday Tesla made a big live announcement about their what they call their robo-taxi. And they're on a tear. And I was skeptical. I was super skeptical years ago. I thought there's no way that they could program a car to drive itself. But they're doing it, and I'm seeing it. It's not too far away, Ashley. In fact, the car that they demonstrated, like their what they call their robo taxi, it is a car, a little car that has no steering wheel, no gas pedal, and no brake. Nothing.
Oh,
you just get in.
Sorry.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, thank you. When I fall asleep when we're in Waikiki and we go to the far, far lands of town for dinner and we have to drive over the Pali like 20, 30 minutes and it's late and I'll like fall asleep, my other half is driving. And when we get over the Pali through the tunnel, it's kind of a steep and windy highway. And I wake up in complete panic. I'm like, slow down. He's like, chill. You were sleeping. We're going. I was like, no, go to 28 miles. And he's like, relax. I just could not. I'm curious how many people could.
The other thing that Elon announced that didn't get a ton of press a couple of months ago is they're going to make it available for you if you own a Tesla to when you're not driving it, you can just make it available and it'll leave your house and go pick people up and do robo-taxi stuff and then come back. So it's almost like Airbnb for your car. So if you leave on a trip and you want to, and it'll generate you income. And his whole point is that it will it'll generate way more income than it costs to own the car or buy the car. So they're doing crazy stuff. Yeah, totally changing the automotive industry.
That would be so cool. All I'm thinking is lawsuits galore, but that would be so cool.
Yeah, it's kind of, well, not to riff, but I am a tech guy, so I am drawn to this topic. So I will take editorial license and jump in on it. Look, it's gonna, if it happens to, I mean, it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. It's just a matter of time, whether it's gonna be 1 year or 2 years or 5 years. It's gonna happen. It's gonna beyond revolutionize the world that we can't even conceive of it. Because here, imagine this, like Dylan said, you're gonna have a car that's gonna drop you off at work. It's going to drop you off at work, and then it's going to take off, earn a bunch of money, and then come by and pick you up when it needs to pick you up and drop you off at home. And you're going to get off at home, and then it'll take off again and keep earning money. And you're just going to have a little app, and you'll tell your car when you need to use it and where you want to go, and it'll come and pick you up at that time when you need it. You will never have a garage. You don't need a garage. Why? Because the car's never going to be in it. There's no need to park a car in a garage.
To further that thought, though, if it becomes so common, then no one's going to need to pay for the ride because everyone can just schedule the app, take me to the airport at this time with their own car, and then their own car will come and go get them. So then they won't need to ever order an Uber because everyone's car will be at the beck and call of an app.
Or you'll realize the difference in cost, and you may not have a car at all because it's going to be so cheap. Because everyone's got, everyone who owns their car is going to make it a taxi, so taxi rates are going to be next to nothing because there's no taxi driver. There's no taxi driver. So all you're paying for is the few cents of electricity, which you're recharging off of your solar panels in your house, and so the cost of a ride is going to drop through the floor. So there's going to be a lot of people, maybe like myself, frankly, I use my car twice a week now. I go to Costco and I go to Makapu and I do like 1 or 2 client meetings. That's it. I don't go anywhere. So anyway, okay. All right. Moving on. Let's move on.
To the point of safety, right? I always argue, my argument when it comes to like safety is I would trust at a much higher level a car driving itself than all the idiots that are on the road. So if you eliminated all the idiots and just left it up to once in a while a mechanical mistake, I think the number of crashes and deaths on the highway would astronomically be reduced. So
that they've already backed that up with numbers.
Yeah.
Teslas are in far fewer, auto driving Teslas are in far fewer accidents. So it's way safer already right now. So anyway. Okay. All right. Let's next slide, please. So I was talking about Misty's comment about the swell coming soon. Asked Misty if she's a surfer. She's like, no, I'm not, but my kids are, like Dylan's. All right, well, surfing, nothing quite as much fun as taking kids and going and pounding surf and having a good time with the boards or the body boards or whatever it is. That's all good stuff. And thanks, Jennifer. I hope yes, that's crying out loud laughing. I hope you're enjoying that, Jennifer. Thanks for your comment earlier about the $400 tickets. Okay, final topic on the tickets. I got a quick blast from the past. So John, many years ago, this is the early 90s. I lived in a remote part of the Vacant, and I did have a teaching gig on Oahu. And at that time, get this, everybody, I bought a ticket, a Hawaiian Air ticket for $250 that allowed for unlimited flights to and from Oahu and the Big Island. And I used that thing. The class was not taught every day. It was maybe 2-3 times a week. 2-3 times a week. I would, it was like Dylan was like a 4-hour haul, at least round trip. But it was a $250 ticket for the whole month, unlimited flights. Those were the days.
They also had that in the last decade. And they have like punch cards for 10 flights too, not that long ago.
Yeah, back in pretty 20 years ago, you could buy a booklet of like 10. It would be like $200 for 10, and they were just coupons that you'd rip off, and then you could jump on the plane.
You'd rip off coupons, just like you would. It was like a bus. You would just get on the bus, and it was before TSA, so you just kind of would make it through. And them were the days. All right, hey, wow! I can't believe that we have just moved on. So we probably talked too much about too few things, but let's get into diamonds and deals. Look, folks, if you got some questions, make sure you let us know. This is all about you. John, thanks for that. Hope hope we beat the hell out of that question, John. Hope you got the answers that you need to get out of that one. But let's talk about diamonds and deals, folks. We're going to talk about some properties that our friends here want to have featured that they think are either diamonds or deals. And we're going to start with Maui. What a gorgeous property, Maui. Heidi, what are we looking at, Heidi?
So this is a phenomenal residence. I just went and looked at it yesterday. It's in Oluwalu, Mauka, which is, it's kind of between West Maui and Central Maui, very remote up on the mountain. This property has some of the most amazing, unobstructed, full ocean views. It's 5 bedrooms, 6 baths on 2 acres. The house itself is a little over 4,200 square feet, and then there's another 1,654 square feet of covered lanai. You can see on that top picture on the right-hand side some of the lanai space. 38-foot infinity pool. The picture in the bottom, you can see how it goes over the edge there, and then the terrain slopes down, so there's nothing in front of you. It just feels like you're at the top of the mountain, right there in West Maui. And the list price is under 10 million, 995. So
that is
really cool property.
That is an
Beautiful
amazing
interiors too. I mean, I wanted to include more pictures of it, but everything's very tastefully done. It's gorgeous.
Hey, now that you mentioned Heidi, now that we're all here, all 4 of us are here. Look, if you folks in the future want to have like multiple slides with like full pictures, I mean, somehow we started a tradition 4 years ago for no reason whatsoever to put all the pictures on one slide. That's just something that we did. There's no rule there. So in the future, if you folks want to kind of put like, I don't care if you want to put 10 pictures on a given slide to talk about a property, just tell me to click through and I'll be happy to click through for you. So now that you mention it, Heidi, just wanted to put that out there. There's no rule, gang. There's no rule that says we can't have multiple pictures. But Heidi, this is a stunning property. It's like, it blows. You know what I was thinking about when you're showing this is like, I don't think there's any place like Hawaii. The homes, the amazing homes in Hawaii are the most amazing homes in the world. I mean, short of like a castle in Europe, you just can't beat an incredible Hawaiian home, and this is one of them. It's stunning, absolutely mind-blowing. Thanks, Heidi. Awesome. All right, who's next? What do we got here? Oh, a Hau'ula. What is it? Oh, a Hau'ula oceanfront home. Wow. What is it, Heidi? Ashley, what is it, Ashley?
Okay, so this is a 9-bedroom, 6.5 bathroom. It's oceanfront home in Hau'ula. I lived in Hau'ula. This is the northeast side of the island for 7 years, not too far from this property, in fact, and I love it. Arguably some of the best spearfishing. Obviously, with fish comes some snorkeling, kayaking. And what's really nice about this area is that you have reef out front of your home. And so a lot of people imagine sandy beachfront as, their desired oceanfront location. However, we talk about natural disasters, right? And we talk about flood and we talk about erosion. When you have a reef shelf out front, it really helps protect the land and it really helps protect the property as well, because you don't have the same level of swells. So I personally like having a reef out front of my property. And then right down the street, about 4 houses from here as well, there's a nice big sandy beach with a swing, and local families are always playing in the water. This property consists of 2 legal dwellings. So if you look at that drone photo in the bottom right, the house closest on the street side, that has 2 bedrooms, 1 bathroom on each floor, upstairs and downstairs. And then that Makai house that's in the front, that has 3 separate living spaces in there. You have a 2-bedroom, 1 bath upstairs, 2-bedroom, 2 bath downstairs, and a 1-bedroom, 1 bath outside has an outdoor shower, and there is a half bath in the hallway. Each of them have their own keypad entries. So it's really built as like this Bali style beach home that you could use for big multifamily or for rental. And then the quality of construction, like that decking is adobo wood, has supposedly a lifetime warranty. and it's made out of sustainable material. All of the trim is African mahogany inside and outside. That's made for harsh natural elements. It's a hardwood. Inside, you have doors that are made out of Balinese. I just had a withdrawal. Sorry.
Indestructible wood material.
It's high
that's
quality
sustainable.
materials. Moonstone. The floors are all white coral. Really helps implement the interior blend to the exterior. It's a beautiful home, and it's only 2.99. I say only relative to what you're getting. It's a lot of house, a lot of property.
Well, I was going to say it's a lot of. I mean, if
opportunity, I should say, not property.
Yeah, I mean, if I think if you completely rented it out and lived in only one of the dwelling areas, you could probably. It's really not that quote unquote not that bad at all.
Well, you have Turtle Bay that just went through that massive renovation that has live music. So you're sandwiched almost right in between Turtle Bay that has live music, dining, and Crouching Lion just was resurrected, which is on the other side coming up the windward side. And that has also live music, a cafe, nice dining, and also live, like you're just sandwiched between some pretty great places. Plus you have all the local eateries. So this is Oahu's finest local living, I like to call it.
I agree. And you know what's cool? I love that picture because it's that picture with the mountains in the back is just like so incredibly picturesque. And Jennifer agrees with us because Jennifer says dreams. That's what Jennifer is saying. Dreams, right? Right, Jennifer? It is dreams. Sign me up. Well, Jennifer, hey man, get a hold of us. Send us an email. We'll hook you up with Ashley. Make this price is right. This could be yours. This house could be yours because the price is right, I think. It'd be kind of cool to. I don't want to ask Ashley about the numbers because we're going to go into a deep rabbit hole. But I'm sure if you rented this out, you might be able to make the numbers work. All right, let's move on.
I don't know. I'll say real fast. There's the other house in Hau'ula on the water, and I'm not promoting short term, but it does make 45 to 65,000 in their rental income. But I'm not. This is not rented, so I don't have numbers for it.
Thank you, Ashley. Good. I knew I was putting my toe into dangerous waters when I was going to ask Ashley about the numbers, but we're going to move on to Hoku Kano Beach. Dylan, what's this?
So I don't often, say that this is something that I would want, but this is definitely something this is actually on the dream board in the future. This is a ranch right above Kealakekua. It's actually the old Kealakekua ranch. And fun fact, I actually grew up working on this ranch in high school. I helped run the water systems and the fence lines and maintain the stone walls and stuff. So it's part of a 10,000 acre ranch. It's been cut up over the years. And so this is totally off the grid. It's about probably 5 or 6 miles up into the mountain, but there is a paved road. The owner years ago paved the road up into about halfway up, and so you can get to it 7-8 minutes from the highway. It's really quick, and it's a nice easy drive. But this is 100 acres, 98 acres with a cabin on it. It's upstairs, downstairs. There's plenty of room. It's kind of rough. Needs a little bit of work, but totally livable. But if you got a dream to live on a ranch on the Big Island, you can see the ocean. I mean, it's crazy. This is at like 4,000 feet, and that's the view from the lanai looking out into the water. And sunsets from elevation are like really different than sunsets from the shoreline, and just an amazing spot. And wild sheep, pigs, and lots of room to roam if you wanted to have cows and stuff. But just a super killer opportunity. And actually, I didn't put the price on here. It's like $2 million. It's like the best deal ever. So let me see.
Man, best deal ever. $2 million for night. Yeah, it's so cool, right, Dylan? I mean, we got these great
2.45.
2.45. That's like, wow, this really illustrates the unbelievable diversity. You want to talk about diversity, folks? Diversity, equity, and inclusion. Well, let me include these. This is like a stunning jaw-dropping rich estate for $10 million. We got this like crazy beachfront, amazing home for $3 million, and then we got 98 acres on the Big Island for 2.5. Yeah, and thank you on the chat here. So thanks. Jennifer says, hey, maybe This is great. Maybe provide website links to houses in the comments, and of course, our demonstrable millennial, our representative millennial of the group, Ashley just pops it all in right there, puts it in the comments. I don't know if you can click on that link, Jennifer, but you could certainly copy and paste that link and have a look at that. So thank you, Ashley, for posting that. Appreciate that. And it's not a bad idea, Dylan and Heidi, if in the future, by the way, this show is driven by you folks, right? So Jennifer, you've just given us some great ideas that we might be doing in the future. There you go. Dylan's going to pop his in. Right. Awesome. And so the show, this is the way the show evolves. Every feature on the show was thought about by you folks. So thank you. I want to thank Jennifer for that great feature. Heidi, in the future, if you don't already have it now, pop it in if you get it between now and the end of the show. If not, have it ready next time, and let's pop some links on there. Sounds great. All right. Hey, what a great moment. What a great way to transition into our closing thoughts. Hey, if you've got some closing motivational thoughts, we'd love to hear them. Auntie Joan, if you're still with us, you're always good for that. No pressure, but if you got a motivational thought, anyone who's got a motivational thought, pop it in the comments. I'd love to read it off, but let's start with Ashley. Ashley, what's yours, and why is it important to you?
Be yourself. Everyone is already taken. I like it. It's quirky, it's short, and it's true. When you have kids, you are always inspiring them to find their path in this world, and then you realize that you need some of that advice also. And this is a piece of advice I had given my daughter recently.
That is a good piece of advice. That was one of my key, but I have to tell you, Ashley, be very careful what you wish for, because it's going to happen. So I was very much motivated to raise my daughters to be, clear, independent, strong thinkers. And what did I get? I get two daughters who are clear, independent, strong thinkers. So it's quite amazing. All right, great. Thanks, Ashley. That's excellent. Joan, thanks, Joan. What is within me is always greater than any challenge taking place around me. That is an excellent, what's that word? Self-affirmation. That is an excellent affirmation. Thank you, Auntie Joan. That is a great contribution. Really appreciate that. All right, let's get to our next one there. Our next one is Heidi's. Heidi's, what's yours, and what does it mean to you?
So many things are possible as long as you don't know they are impossible. So it's just the idea of possibility is really limitless, and we need to be aware of these beliefs that we have that might be holding us back, or listening to naysayers or people that are telling you, you can't move to Hawaii, you're never going to be able to get that or do that. Just don't listen to that, because so many things really are possible.
Like self-driving cars. Self-driving cars.
I just had this conversation with my son, because he's timing wrestling. He runs around the track for a mile, and he always tells me what his time was. He reports his time, and he's pretty fast. I mean, he can do it in like 4 minutes and 30 seconds. I mean, one mile is fast. And I said, you gotta aim to beat the 4-minute mile, And he was like, yeah, I'm working on that. And you guys know the story of Roger Bannister, the first guy to run the 4-minute mile? So this is a great story that illustrates this, is that in all of human history, we've been running, right? We've been racing. It's kind of maybe like the oldest sport of what humans have done. And not until the 60s, it was like, I think it was 64 or something like that, did a human break a 4-minute mile. And previous to that, doctors said it was impossible. You would have a heart attack. Your lungs would explode. Like, everybody said it was impossible. And then this guy, Roger Bannister, did it in the 1960s. And then, like, within 6 months, another 100 people did it, right? The only difference was that now people believed it could be done, versus previous, nobody thought it could be done. And now high school kids do it. I mean, it's like thousands of people do it every year, and it's not a big thing, but it just took the first guy to do it and prove it wasn't impossible.
That is a remarkable story, isn't it? I mean, I remember the science of that. Well, I don't remember the science, but I remember them talking about it. Science, like you said, scientifically impossible. It's never going to happen. And here your son's about to break it, and I'm sure he's going to.
He's 14, yeah.
And he's 14. He's 14. I mean, that really just goes to show you, doesn't it, how ridiculous any belief that any of our beliefs could very well be ridiculous. Could. That's not a guarantee, but any belief that we have could be ridiculous, right? So Yeah, that is amazing. Cool. Thanks, Jennifer, for your comment. They're so gorgeous. I'm assuming you're talking about the comments that we're making over here and the motivational thoughts. Let's hit the next one. Dylan, your turn. What's yours and how is it significant to you?
You know me, I'm always obsessed with productivity and efficiency, and I just saw this weekend. It just really stuck with me. So there's two things that highly productive people are insane at. They can separate their feelings from their behavior, and the time between thought and action is instant. And I just love this because it's so true. And I'm always coaching agents, right? It's like nobody cares about your feelings. You have to do what you got to do when you got to do it. Doesn't matter how you feel. And the longer you think about it and procrastinate on it, nothing's getting done. So you just have to think and then act. And pretty simple. You know, I think to be very successful and highly productive is pretty simple.
You know, that's very, very true. I mean, it's kind of funny when you talk about the what you tell your agents that nobody cares about your feelings. My wife and I have condensed that statement to maybe even one that's perhaps more succinct, which is nobody cares about you. Nobody cares about you. No one cares about you. No one cares about you. You gotta, maybe your husband, your family, whatever, but no one cares about you. Just you got to do your thing. You got to do what you got to do. Barbara, thanks, Barbara. I love the wisdom of age. It is an incredible gift that we all have that gets better over time. Never underestimate yourself. I started running at 50 and did 4 San Francisco marathons and New York City as well. Barbara, that is amazing. That is an amazing. And I know, Barbara, if I'm not mistaken, you're 95. Please correct me if I'm wrong. I believe Barbara's 95. That is, and Joan just had her, Joan's about to have her 81st birthday, 82nd birthday. And Joan, Barbara makes you look like a kid. You're just a kid compared to Barbara. You're just a kid. We're just a kid. 90. Okay, 90. Close enough. 90. God bless you. Yeah, Joan's 82. So, Joan, you're just a kid. You're just a kid compared to Barbara. God bless. Man, you guys are awesome. Fantastic. Thank you, guys. It's terrific. What a great show. All right, my turn. I'm going to close it up over this. Of course, I'm going to bring up some Proverbs. He who trusts in his riches will wither, but the righteous will flourish like a green leaf. So it's not about the money. It's not about the money. It's about being righteous. Being righteous is what you will flourish. As opposed to pursuing the money. If you're righteous, you'll get the money. That's the fun part about it. That's the fun part about it. Being righteous brings you the wealth, but going wealth only will wither. So don't wither. Be righteous. Don't wither. And then finally, okay, we're going to close up. Barbara, Joan says, "I want to meet Barbara." Yeah, me too. Me too. Barbara, you gotta make it out to Hawaii, man. You got to do that. All right. Hey, so folks, we're gonna wrap it up over here. We're gonna see you in 2 weeks. Well, not more than Dylan. We'll all see you in 2 weeks. I should have edited this. We're gonna see you in a couple of weeks on our next show. We're gonna wrap it all up. This has been a great show. Really appreciate everyone's comments and everything that everybody has said. Let's wrap it up counterclockwise. Ashley, then Heidi, then Dylan. Say goodbye, everybody.
Have a great long weekend, everyone. Aloha.
Aloha, everybody. Happy Friday. And you all inspire me as well. So thank you and have a great weekend.
Yeah, have a great weekend, everybody. Aloha.
Hey, thanks, Ashley, for reminding us. It's a 3-day weekend. It's a holiday. It's Columbus Day on Monday. So we are going to be celebrating this great explorer who brought us the modern world.
The kids don't get the day off, though.
But the kids don't get the day off.
Recognize it.
That's
Yeah.
not
Oh, they don't? Oh,
Don't miss
thanks for
school,
telling
Ashley.
Well,
I was wondering if
also,
that was some special Oahu holiday that I didn't know
no,
about.
it's Columbus Day. It's Columbus Day, which then became Discover's Day, which then became Indigenous Peoples Day, which I'm gonna revitalize Columbus Day. So thank you, Christopher.
Okay,
Columbus.
bye guys. I gotta go.
See y'all later. Bye. Love you. See y'all.